it will be very gradual. The situation must be and must stay under control in our health system. Everybody will have to follow public health instructions. We must continue to keep our distances. To succeed, we must continue all our efforts.
So what was the message there? Quebec Premier François Legault outlining his back-to-school plan for young kids. Primary schools and daycare centres outside the Greater Montreal area will open their doors starting May 11th, if everything goes to plan. And for those within the Greater Montreal area, Monday, May 19th. Is that too soon? What are the benchmarks Quebec needs to hit? And why does Quebec have hard dates while Ontario refuses to do that? Let's bring in the former NDP leader and CTV News political analyst, Tom Muclair. Tom, great to have you back, and hope you and the family are well. Is it, given that Quebec's been the hardest hit province by COVID-19, is it too soon to start saying kids are going to come back to school within 2 weeks?
Certainly seems like a lot of temerity in the face of the results you just described. Quebec has been the worst hit. The situation that you were just discussing with the previous guest, who was from Ontario, talking about the long-term care homes for seniors there, multiply that by several-fold to get the numbers in the province of Quebec. It's been a disaster here. So for the Quebec Premier to again be pushing his agenda with what he was clearly calling last week a process of herd immunity, meaning have as many people out there who have become immune to it because they've had it, that's really controversial. Theresa Tam at the federal level over the weekend saying that that's not a guarantee for success. Mr. Legault was prudent today. He was saying, we're going to take our time, we're going to measure it every day. If there's the slightest indication that there's a second wave coming, we'll pull the plug and we'll take the kids out of the school, but it might be too late. So there's a lot of nervousness amongst parents, especially amongst teachers, who feel that they're being sent to the battlefront without enough armor to protect them.
Yeah, on my radio show today, a lot of people are pretty nervous about that. But, you know, again, Mr. Legault clearly gave himself a backdoor saying we could hold this. But, Tom Mulcair, what about the number of tests? In other words, we don't have a vaccine. How do we roll, I don't know, kids back in primary or elementary school? Does Quebec have enough tests?
No, it doesn't. And we're doing very much what other places do is we keep talking about our testing capacity, but we're nowhere near that in terms of the actual tests being done. And it's an obvious problem. But you know, Evan, one of the toughest things for the average person, a well-informed person trying to follow this, is how do they separate the wheat from the chaff when they get one version from the federal government's best experts, like Theresa Tam, and another version from a provincial expert, recognized as such, like Horacio Arruda. So how does the average person come to a decision with regard to that? Mr. Legault was repeatedly asked today, so does that mean that you're going to relax the norms with regard to gatherings in the province of Quebec? It's very, very strict. And his answer was, no, we're not changing that at all. But you can't have both. You can't claim that you're going to keep all these strict rules where you're not even allowed to have, you know, members of the same family go visit each other, and then at the same time you're going to say, well, everybody's going to be going back to school at the primary elementary school level. They're leaving the universities and junior colleges out, what we call the CEGEPs. They're being left out because a lot of those students take public transit, and I think that that's probably wise. The high schools are being left out for reasons that were never really explained sufficiently today. So it's just going to be the elementary school, the youngest ones. I guess that the main reason there is that they feel that if they do get infected, they're the ones who are going to shake it off the easiest. But that doesn't say anything about the results for their parents or eventually their grandparents.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I spoke to an infectious disease specialist today, Dr. Bogosh, and he said, you know, some provinces are going to do 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Those are euphemisms. 1 step back means 6 feet under for some people. That's what the reality is in COVID-19, and I think we got to remember that. Tom Muclair, great to have you on, giving some perspective on this, sir. Thanks so much. Great to have you.
All the best.